Okay, so I hope everything's good now. I hope there's not some crazy friggin' delay that where I'm just like looking at the computer confused for 60 seconds, but I should be all set up now. So I have a new computer and my interface wasn't installed. What I used to stream wasn't installed. I have like a million things that are on the schedule today, and I thought I would have enough time. Oh, there we go.
I hope everything's good now.
What the hell?
I hope there's not...
I thought everything's going wrong. I thought I would have enough time to get this set up, but I didn't. But I think we're all good now. I'm pretty sure we're all good now. So let me know if my audio is off. Let me know if anything goes wrong. Let me know in the chat, and you guys will help me stress test this system. Let me know if the sound is off from the video, which is something that has been the bane of my existence for the last like 24 hours. But I think we're all ready to go now, and I'm going to try to get through everyone's questions as quickly as possible. So, I think we're all set up to go, but I hope everyone's doing all right, and we're going to answer your questions post-haste. Let me just make sure this is all good. Okay, yeah, we're good. All right, so our first question comes to us from Niagara Moon, Thomas Irwin, one of my favorite musicians, and he asked, trying to come up with headlines for my brand new music vid. So let's go take a look at that. I'm just gonna turn up my desktop audio here, and here we go. I love that. I love that song. I have since the first time I heard it, and I'm super glad you made a video for it. I think, Thomas, we were originally talking about how we want to kind of, you wanted to do this story brand kind of thing, where we're isolating and identifying who your target audience is from a psychological, existential perspective. So we had identified that people who aren't so happy with the status quo, or people who aren't bros, you know, like they spend time at Austin's Coffee here in Orlando, Florida. Those types of folks, more artsy folks, more indie folks. And it seems this video does a good job of communicating their plight. I think your headline should be a point of pain for them, right? Like if you can illustrate, like if I can read your headline and know, oh yeah, I friggin' hate that, right? Then I'll watch the video. Or if you can identify something that we were going over their pain points and just struggling to live in an environment where you dig things that this mainstream does not dig. Identify that pain point in your copy is going to be your best bet going forward, I think. That's my opinion on it, Thomas. But great video. Love it. Glad to see you back in the saddle making vids, dude. Okay, next question. D-Town asks, good afternoon. I recently started running this video to my warm audience, and I have a question about the headline. What could I do to improve my headline? What would you keep, change, add, and or eliminate? I won't be able to see your feedback until I return from my vacation in Cabo. Hey, congrats, man. But I want to say thanks in advance for your time and support. No problem, D-Town. Let's check it out. All right, I'm going to pull it up here on the screen.
used to call me whack, but it ain't matter then. Now them see me shining and they madder then. I got too much drive, couldn't measure it. I'm wrestling with demons, I'ma slam them on the mat again. I took a little time off, dog, now I'm back at it. Black radical activist, not on no maggot shit. Guaranteed, hit it hardest when I'm emphatic.
I'm trying to find the original post just because I can't see the whole headline. And that's probably due to Facebook's new interface. So let me see if I can find it elsewhere. Or maybe it's because of how you release the video. It looks like it's a watch video and not... Yeah, it's weird. It's not about where you start out. It's about where you finish. Why don't rappers make music like this anymore? Okay, so D-Town, the main issue here is that you've got two different concepts at play, right? So you're saying on the one hand, it's not about where you start out, it's about where you finish. Great headline. Why don't rappers make music like this anymore? More subpar, run-of-the-mill, average headline. They're both together. Remove one from the other. I would just go with it's not about where you start out, it's about where you finish. Or like, you know, to get them to identify how that's part of their experience, or to just leave that headline and cut off the second half might be better. It's a cool video, although it's not really too fan finder spec, this video, but it's good looking and it's a cool song. So your headline's probably not your most high impact. Like, it's probably the fact that it's a cinematically shot music video, which those typically do not do so well on Facebook with the fan finder method. So in lieu of considering another video, the headline, you could just lop off the second half. But other than that, maybe a different video. Run it up. Okay, moving on. Thank you very much for your question, D-Town, and have a great time in Cabo. Sounds amazing. Kevin McCash asks, hi, thanks for the opportunity to join Indies Live. No problem, man. No problem. It's maybe a lot what I'm asking, so I'm just asking you to take a quick glance over what I'm sending. I'm working... Damn, it's turning into an audit. Is this an audit session, Kenny? Kenny! Is this an audit session?
Q&A.
Q&A. Guys, we're just going to have to eliminate the difference because nobody follows. It's not your guys' fault. We just had a bad idea. Our idea was to split this so that on audit session days, you're posting your links, we're auditing your assets. On Q&A days, you're asking your questions, we're giving you answers. But nobody's ever done that. So maybe we'll just eliminate it. If it's not working, it's the fault of the engineer, not the user. Am I right? So Kevin asks, I'm working through FanFinder, and from hearing some things you have mentioned regarding FanFinder videos, it occurred to me that perhaps one of the 3 videos I am sending you might work for a FanFinder. The main problem, though, might be, and probably is, that the intros are too long. I am really looking here for some direction. You can just lop off the intro, man. Pull it into any editing software, cut it, rebounce it. But that said, each video is pretty different in style. Once again, just take a quick glance over them. I am not expecting extensive critiques. The foundation really is the branding I am sending you that is on my website. I'm not looking for an audit of my webpage here. I'm just providing it so you can get a feeling for the branding I'm creating. Some thoughts on the branding of what's on my webpage and the feel you are getting would be great. I've stripped it down to highlight the branding, then take a quick look at the videos. Do you think any of them could be used for a fan finder, or what changes could be made? Long intros, yep. Or is there anything from them that is good that could be used stylistically and works with my branding that could be used for future videos? Once again, sorry about the 3 videos. I'm going to skip the rest of this, Kevin, because I'm short on time because of massive technological issues this afternoon. But let's first go to your website. So let's pull that up here. Make sure my audio is good. All right, cool. So, Kevin, this YouTube video is being cut off. I'm on a 4K screen right now, which is why it looks like a 1080 screen in the middle of a larger screen. That's what's going on. So you need to design responsive. Now, I don't know what you designed this in, but it's not responsive. Now, let me resize this browser window real quick. So yeah, not incredibly responsive website. I can't really get a feel for what your brand direction is from this website, Kevin. I see you've established this red as a reoccurring color. I dig the photography. Like, you've got everything you need to make a great website. This is not it. You also have some conflicting issues here with this about has a faux lower capitalization, meaning this A here is capitalized and all the other letters are capitals, but they're in a smaller font. Whereas this has the same size capitals all across. Makes shows, videos, and songs stand out, but it's just like a little nitpicky thing among a lot of other things. What you want, Kevin, and I know you're not looking for a website critique, but I can't help myself. What you want is to get on a platform that's going to provide you templates that you can't, that you're not like searching around in the dark with. You got a template, it looks great, now you're just changing copy, changing pictures, changing colors, and things like that. If this is a templated website, maybe it's from a poor website provider, but you need something a little bit more robust than this. That said, I understand that this is your motif, not much of a motif to set the tone for what these videos should be, but it is a motif. And then we've got a YouTube playlist from Kevin. Let's pull that up and check it out. I'm going to turn this audio in.
I couldn't read a single constellation, a million mirrors of my consternation. Blessed be that part of us that protects us from pain. I am as guilty as Cain, beating a rainbow to pain. I survived every notion in the ocean of time. Bruised by turtle shells and cut by bones, in a burst of blinding light and foam. To be a castaway is to be caught in a rasping ballet. Where have all the brave men gone? Asked the loneliest orphan in the world. His father was shot 9 times, collecting on a $10 debt. An outlaw on an eagle. Loss of something never achieved in the city of sirens and make-believe.
So, Kevin, a few things. Number one, all these videos have replaced audio, or at least heavily processed audio. So none of it is just like out the mic from the day that you shot it. Now, the beach scene, it's a beach. Everybody's been to a beach. Great cinematography going on, but you're also not like gonna do Beyonce vocal riffs, and you're also don't appear to have like, you're not gonna shred like you're Eddie Van Halen. And that's where performance videos really work well. So you can be on a beach with a single camera continuous shot if you're gonna do something that is the height of the video. Now, that said, I really like Neil's ghost setting. I love that, you know, there's this trailer home, we go inside it, it's dingy, and you're there on this dingy couch playing this song. I think it's befitting of the type of song. And if if you were actually playing the song right there and the audio I'm hearing is from you sitting on that couch playing the song, that might be something that I would, I'd put some money behind, because it explains the motif. Like, you got a grittier voice. You're not, like I said, you're not going to do Beyonce vocal riffs, but the voice fits. If you like Neil Young, then that's the motif here, which I do. I do like Neil Young. Shut up, Kenny. Sorry, every once in a while he gets out of line, and I just have to tell him, shut up, Kenny. Just kidding. But, yeah, I mean, I love Neil's Ghost, the look of it. Now, the thing that bothered me was that I had to skip around to find you on that couch, because there's all these cut-in scenes. So that last video, Neil's Ghost, is great. It should be all on the couch. Get me into that trailer in 3 seconds or less, and I should be in front of you, orbiting around you with smooth camera motion, and you singing within 5 seconds. I need to be right there, okay? And try to play around in that motif the whole time, because it reminded me very much of Beck. Like it's this like more lower income area, right? And the camera itself, the way that it's shot, it looks like a home VHS from back in the day. And we've just got you sitting on that couch playing, and it immediately invokes, I think, the emotion that you're going for. And it makes me pay attention to what you're saying. Like, if I'm in this setting, nothing's glamorous, clearly some dope poetry is about to be spat, right? And so I'm going to try to listen more to the lyrics just because of where the cinematography places me emotionally. So that's my recommendation, Kevin. I would go forward with that motif. I would carry that over to your website as well. So yeah, if I were the marketer on this account, I'm immediately trying to get a reshoot of Neil's Ghost, or the same shot, but let's use the audio. You should be performing the audio directly to the microphone. That should be the audio I'm hearing. As it's being shot, you're also tracking audio. That should be it. Those are my recommendations, Kevin. As far as a website, pick something that's templated. Swap out your colors. Use photography that fits the motif of Neil's Ghost. Like, the way that these images look in Neil's Ghost of you sitting on the couch, your website should scream that, because I think it fits in very well with where your music's pointed. And that's my advice, man. Thank you so much for your question. I hope I was helpful. I'm going to check in with chat here. How we doing? The DJI Osmo Pocket. Yeah, Jeff, I will get to that in a little bit. I will definitely get to that. I have checked it out. Definitely good for live stream, vlog style content creation. Definitely can be used. It's 4K. It's got great image. And yeah, totally can be used. I don't think it has like HDMI out, which makes it complicated, but I can definitely go look at the specs on that. Thing about, if you want to live stream with like a higher quality camera like this one, you need to have HDMI out so that you can then feed it into a computer and then upload that signal to YouTube or Facebook. Not sure the Osmo Pocket has that, so it might not be ideal for live streaming. You want to look into that. Great for vlogging, though. For someone who doesn't really want to get into a full camera system and doesn't know how to operate a camera yet, the Osmo Pocket's great. Or for just someone who doesn't want to lug around a camera also. So, yes. Robert Dale asks, hey, Circa, thanks again a million times for all the work you guys do. Hey, Robert, thank you. I just did an interview for a video business card that a friend is shooting for me as like practice for his video business. He's going to be operating soon. And he asked me, like, he was like, why don't you just, if you can do all this stuff, why don't you just do it for businesses? Wouldn't you make more money? He's trying to like get different interview questions out of me. And I said, well, businesses, working for small businesses sucks. It's awful. And I'm not the type of person who can work for other people very well. And I try not to be the type of boss that I would hate working for, because I just can't do it. And so there's that. And yes, I could make more money doing that, but I wouldn't have the types of letters I get and emails I get and posts I get of indies saying like, this is working for me and thank you. it's like heroin. So thank you, Robert. Appreciate you for appreciating us. Robert says, sorry if this question is a bit out there, but I'm setting up to test an album launch that will be hosted via FB Instant Experience pages. Ooh, that's fire. And I've been able to successfully make pages that resemble the website version of the experience pretty well. The problem I'm having is I don't know how to send Messenger subscribers a link directly to the instant experience. And without them needing to first click a link to the ad post, then click the ad post, which pops up the instant experience. Any thoughts? Also, where should I add codes so I can moderate the FB comments on my ClickFunnels website? Okay, so let's deal with this piece by piece. First of all, awesome and audacious that you're setting up an album launch using the instant experience pages. Very cool. Only if you're doing it to keep it on the platform. Don't do it because you're afraid of ClickFunnels. Please don't let that be the reason. But if it is not the reason, the problem you're having is you want to send people from your messenger list to the instant experience without them needing to do the double click. They click in Messenger, then they're on the ad post, and then they have to click again to open the instant experience. What I would do, and I've been thinking about this a lot, is if I really was dead set on serving it through instant experiences, I would serve each day through the ad platform. I would advertise to people. So I would run a reach campaign using my instant experience ad, and then I'm running time windows. So I need to create an audience of, on the first day you send people to a website to pixel them right there, okay? So they're all pixeled on the same day. And then I would create a custom audience of people who have visited that page in the last day, in the last 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, 6 days, 7 days. Then I would create, for day one, I'm running it to everyone who visited that page in the last day. For day two, I'm running it to everyone who visited that page in the last 2 days, but excluding the audience who visited it in the last 1 day. Does that make sense? So now I've got just the visitors who it's been 2 days since they visited. Then I'm running the third day to people who visited it 3 days ago, but not 2 days ago, within the last 2 days. So by running those exclusions with those audiences, you can serve it on the ad platform, and you can serve it perpetually. So if anyone goes to that page any day in the future, as long as you've got these reach campaigns turned on, they'll start the experience over again, and it'll all be served from the ad platform. I've thought a lot about doing that just because it sounds cool to test. It's audacious. It's going to take work. It's confusing. Who knows what the KPI there is? Like, are you trying to lift your sales compared to what? Compared to another album launch you ran not that way? Because you need that data before you can test it. And that's why I haven't gotten around to it, because it's like, it's a convoluted test to run. But super interesting, and if you do it, I'm jealous of you, because that's super cool. Even if it falls flat on its face, I think it would be dope. So I applaud you, Robert. Please do it. Run your exclusions and serve it through the ad platform. Other than that, you can't avoid the double click, unless there's like some bit of code that opens instant experiences. Direct link to instant experiences. You could go on the instant experience post and try right-clicking the button and copy link address. Maybe that does it, but probably not. It's probably JavaScript, so might not be a solution there, man. But thank you for your question. I hope I was helpful. Mario Desa asks, hi, you guys. Was preparing my first campaign for video views, but Facebook kept giving an error about placements. I placed only on FB and excluded stories, IG, etc., but still had no luck. Is this a bug because of the new UI enhancements? I followed your instructions correctly, I think. I'm trying to do a cold campaign with this lyric video on Facebook. I'm also going to do a campaign with 4 different acoustic videos. I will pinpoint the respective audiences who like the original creator, e.g. Dancing in the Dark, and then target on Springsteen fans, etc. Then, as a follow-up, send those who watch more than 50% to my original video, the lyric video. And the thing I would really like to know in terms of leads and conversions is, what is the best way to send fans to my Spotify artist profile page? That is actually my main goal. I aim to work on a single basis and funnel audience towards my profile on their favorite streaming platform. I am a solo singer-songwriter and don't want to go down the album physical CD path. Thanks in advance. Cheers. All right, so Mario, number one, if Facebook is throwing off an error, but you can still publish the ad, publish the ad. If they're throwing off an error that disallows you from publishing and running the ad, I don't know. That's probably a temporary bug of the ad platform that's happening right now because of the UI changes. You're probably correct there. But Facebook throws off all kinds of little messages that could be alarming if it's your first time going through it. And you just kind of got to ignore them and click publish and just go. They'll tell you your audience is too broad. They'll tell you that this won't work for that, or you need to put in an IG story if you want it to run. And none of that's true. A lot of times you can just publish it and it'll run and it won't be terrible, and that's fine. So it really depends. It really depends. But yeah, I think it's probably a UI change unless you just haven't tried to click publish yet. Otherwise, click publish. Now, as for funneling people to your Spotify artist profile page, number one, targeting people with a cover song, then getting them to a lyric video, and then funneling them to Spotify is just adding disaster to disaster. Number one, lyric videos are not engaging. Nobody's going to watch a lyric video just because they liked your cover video. You'd be better off going with the cover video as your front end asset, or recording a new video to spec. Lyric videos don't do well, and they don't introduce people to you. And if you've already been introduced, they don't remind people that it is you. And that's all the things wrong with them, is that there's just no benefit to running them because you're not building brand equity with your face. And that's important. People need to know who you are when they see you like that. And you're not doing that with a lyric video. Furthermore, it will never be profitable until Spotify figures out their bot issues. It'll never be profitable to send people direct from cold traffic or even from recently warm traffic to your Spotify artist profile page. Right now, the CPMs on Instagram stories ads are super low. You can get a CPM for like 30 cents on Spotify, or I mean on Instagram stories. So Instagram stories ads are great right now because they're very cheap. They don't have as high an engagement rate or click-through rate as other ad placements, and there's not much you can do with them because you only have 15 seconds. But you could use IG stories. You could retarget warm audience with IG stories, or even try cold audience. Probably build up a lot of followers too. Drex, who's my good friend, who's over, or he was working over there. He's gone from the office right now, but he runs Instagram stories ads to get followers for his playlists, and he builds up playlists and then does playlist promotion campaigns. So he has like a suite of playlists he's built up using just Facebook ads. And you can totally do that. You totally can. And it might work, and it might be profitable, but probably not. Now, as far as not wanting to sell physical CDs or albums, I get it. I do. At the same time, you should be looking to create products that you own and offer them directly to your audience. That's the point of all of this. It makes the math work. And without that variable in place, the math doesn't necessarily work. So I would advise you to not fall into the box of, oh, I don't want to sell CDs. Like, yeah, okay, fine. Sell something. Make a direct offer to your audience on a website that you own and deliver it to them. Maybe not even physically, maybe digitally, but develop your own sales chain, because if you're running followers to Spotify, number one, it's not very high margin, or high return. Number two, you don't own it, and it could be taken away from you at any time. And you cannot control it. And once you have all those people there, let's say you get 40,000 monthly listeners or followers or whatever, and then it's not enough money to subsidize what you've been spending on your ads to get them there. What do you do now? What do you do? Do you drop a link in your Spotify artist bio and hope people click it? Because no one's going to go visit that or read it. Nobody. So you really have no options. If you build your entire house on Spotify, you cannot later sell the house. it's theirs forever, and they don't seem to be intent on giving you access to the house anytime soon. I mean, your data. You can't communicate with your audience that you build on Spotify. So why build it on Spotify? Build an audience, make direct offers to them, and as a tertiary goal, send them off to Spotify, is my thinking on it. I'm thought of as a zealot by others for thinking that way, but that's fine with me. I'd rather be correct than popular. So I apologize if that's not the answer that you want to hear, but it is the right answer. Don't focus on building up your Spotify artist profile page. Focus on building up retainable, communicable fan relationships, ones that you can communicate with them at any time, and then send those people to Spotify. It's not unimportant to build up your Spotify, but don't do it with fresh data that you don't have other grips on. Get a grip on the data, get a grip on contacting that fan, and then send them off to the black hole that is Spotify, is my recommendation. So try just running the acoustic videos. Don't retarget to your lyric video. Try to get them into Messenger or email with a free offer bribe. And you can check out Jack's bribe ground report in the ground reports library. And from there, Mario says, clicked publish, says invalid parameter. Try to publish or no go. I would rebuild the campaign. Like, that might be a shitty answer, but I'd rebuild the campaign because I don't know what's going wrong. Or contact Facebook support. They are helpful for these kinds of bugs. Can be, but it sounds like a bug. It doesn't sound like something that's supposed to happen. But yeah, Mario, I would run the acoustic videos. I would check out the new Which Videos Work Best lesson coming up in the Fan Finder training today. Should be later today. There will be a new lesson live there. And I would watch that and heavily consider making a video to spec for this purpose. Because a lyric video is not optimal. And depending on how you built the acoustic cover, I don't know that that's optimal either. But the goal of this is to build up your retargetable audiences, then get them into a one-to-one communication medium. You ever play Sonic back in the day and you run through that light pole, and now when you die, you're back at that light pole? It's a checkpoint. Email and Messenger are checkpoints. You're not safe with your fan communication until they're on one of those things, okay? Everything else, if you lose them before they get to that checkpoint, you have to start all over again. And what I mean by that is you have to pay to communicate with them. You have to pay ads. Now, if you pay ads, pay more ads, and then send them to Spotify, not only do you have to pay ads again, but the checkpoint's fake because you can't communicate with them on there. So it's just not optimal to do that. Try to get them on email and Messenger first before sending them to Spotify, because otherwise you're literally sending Sonic off a cliff and you haven't even hit the barber pole yet, man. So that's my recommendation, Mario. I hope that helps. And yeah, with the errors with Facebook, that does happen. I'd try to rebuild the campaign or tell me what invalid parameters are popping off. If it gives you any other info, I can try to help you out. Hope that helps, sir. Dallas Johnson asks, hey, sir, I'm working on finishing up my EP and setting up my album launch. One of the biggest issues I've noticed people in the group having is getting people to sign up for their experience. I know there's many variables that could be the cause, landing page design, not fully explaining what to expect when going to opt-in, etc. I'm wondering specifically about the budget you allocate for getting opt-ins. I'm wondering, do you typically see a 50-50 split between FanFinder and opt-in? If your FanFinder is doing really well, you're getting people to go to your opt-in page but not getting signups. Should you crank up the budget for opt-ins? Wondering if it's more a matter of volume or design/explanation. Appreciate any wisdom you could bestow. Okay, definitely not volume. And the reason I say that, Dallas, is that we do not scale something until it's working at a smaller level, and it's easier to make it work at small budgets than it is at scale. So when you scale, typically your results get worse, not better. So it's definitely not a volume issue. After that, there's ways to diagnose. So if you're paying really high CPMs, that's typical of retargeting. So it's hard to get a gauge there unless you have historical data. But if your cost per click is unreasonably high, or if it's costing you a lot to get clicks and your conversion rate is not the problem, then your ad is the problem. If your conversion rate sucks but you're getting cheap clicks, like the rule is 40-10-10 in digital marketing, meaning 40% opt-in rate on the opt-in page, 10% purchase rate from opt-ins, and 10% upsell rate from purchasers. 40-10-10. If you have a 40% opt-in rate on your opt-in page, generally that can be improved upon. Some of our opt-in pages get like 60 or 70% sometimes, but it's not always the case. 40 is safe. You can do stuff with 40. You can make that work. Then you want 10% of all your opt-ins to purchase, right? So if you have a 40 or 50% opt-in rate on your opt-in page, the opt-ins, the page is not the problem. The ad is probably the problem. You're getting more expensive opt-ins because clicks are costing you so much, because either your audience targeting has landed you in a CPM's hell where you're paying way too much to serve that audience, or the copy is not very compelling. The video doesn't remind them who you are. It's not hitting the right signals. So that's what you want to investigate, man. If you build your opt-in page on ClickFunnels, just go to stats and you have your opt-in rate displayed right there. Check that for different time windows and see how your opt-in rate has been. If it's below 40, you could improve the landing page. If it's 40 or above, you need to improve your ad. Try a different media mix. Create 4 or 5 different video ads with different copy and throw it into dynamic creative and see if you can get that cost per click down. Those are my recommendations for diagnostics for that problem. Now, some people do have trouble with opt-ins, but I wouldn't say it's the main problem, because people who have trouble with opt-ins are typically having trouble with a lot of other steps as well. So it's not as if it's uniquely opt-ins that are the problem. In fact, for a lot of indies who have had great fan finders, opt-ins just happen exactly as they would expect them to. So it's not the case that opt-ins are the most difficult step. It's just, you got to be ready to test a lot of different things to find what wins. So are you testing email against messenger? Do you have multiple variants of your ad creative running? Do you have multiple variants of your landing page in case it's an opt-in rate problem? These are all questions that will lead you to exactly what you need to do, which is a little bit more work. Every time I launch an ad campaign and it just doesn't do well, it's mainly because I didn't try enough things in my tests. In the launch, I was like, oh, I'm gonna make all this copy, I'm gonna make all these videos and run it, and it's not working. Now, it can also, if it's your opt-in rate, it can also be something very small that's not noticeable. So the best thing you can do if it's your opt-in rate is to try a completely different landing page design. Don't tweak little things here and there. Change everything. We, as a company, Indepreneur, our funnel has been underperforming as of the last 3 or 4 months. So we're buying new customers at a loss, which is okay for us. We've been operating for a little while, so we're willing to pay that to acquire customers. But it was grinding my gears. Like, we have great add to cart costs. How come purchases are so whack? Then I got an Instagram DM from a prospective indie who was like, hey, I'm trying to check out, but it says here, enter a password. I don't have a password. And I realized, it says please enter a password in case someone's already purchased one of our trainings or already been an Indie Pro and they already have an account. But if you haven't ever created a password, it's confusing. So I just added the words /create. Please enter /create a password. Our return on ad spend tripled. It tripled, okay? Our add to cart to purchase ratio went from like less than 10% to almost 100% because I didn't include /create. So it can be tricky what contributes to bad opt-in or conversion rates. It can be so minute that you don't notice it for 3 or 4 months. This has been going on since we started the new website. And I didn't know because of how the little things can sometimes matter. So that's a funny story, right? That being said, if it's your opt-in rate, could be anything with the page. Could be the button color. Could be that it's a dark theme and it should be more bright for your audience. It could be that you're using images where you shouldn't be. We should use a flat background. It could be anything. So if you're going to make a variant of that opt-in page to test, make everything different. Everything should be different. Choose a whole new template and start from there. That's my recommendation, good sir. Okay, so I believe this is the end of the Facebook questions. Let me reload the page real quick to make sure. Oh, okay, we got a lot more. Great. Dan Molson, just wondering what the view should be on FanFinder videos as far as going from 25% to 100. Absolutely, Dan. Damn, this new video watch view for Facebook is pissing me off because I can't see people's headlines. Okay, so a good ratio is, Dan, from 3-second view to 25% view, we usually see a 90% drop off. Now all these stats were established back when you could optimize by 10-second views. So that's what the normal thing to do was. So it might have changed a little bit, but generally from 3 seconds to 25%, 90% of all people leave. From 25% to 50%, 50% of all people leave. From 50% to 75%, another half of those leave. And from 75 to 95, another half leaves. So from 3 seconds to 25%, 90%. 25% to 50%, half. 50% to 75%, half. 75 to 95%, half. That's the drop off that we typically see. And that's healthy. That's normal. Hope that helps, good sir. Mario asks, would this type of video be okay for FanFinder? The sound is really shitty. I've tried to record with a few different setups, but the sound is never too good. What camera did you reference before? Osmo? The DJI Osmo Pocket. I don't recommend that as your first camera, but it fulfills a need if you're a little bit more budget oriented, you're trying to save some money, and you want to work with 4K video. But it's not even the best budget option because it's new. You could get like an old Canon DSLR that is probably better suited to your needs and has interchangeable lenses and gives you options, you know? So I wouldn't necessarily recommend the Osmo, but it is a tight little piece of gear. So I'm going to switch over to screen share.
I get up in the evening, I ain't got nothing to see. I come on in, I go to bed feeling the same way. I ain't nothing but tired. Yes, I'm just tired of myself. Here they're leaving, I could use just a little help.
Are you using the cell phone for the audio? Because that's probably why the audio is not so good. What I would do is just hire a videographer, man. You could probably get away with paying a videographer an hourly rate if you know exactly what you want. Now, literally today, I will be uploading every lesson in Module 4 of FanFinder. That has to do with creating headlines and creating videos to spec for FanFinder. In it, I make some recommendations about how to hire a videographer, what you should do, budget ranges, what you should look for, what you should tell them in terms of what you want to shoot. So I would hire a videographer. I would make it your original music, best foot forward, but covers can work. It's just that if you're doing a cover in the same style or genre as the original, or even a similar style or genre that's not exactly the same, very few people care because they've already seen it from someone that they like more than you. Right? If you're targeting their fans, and like for instance, if I were to cover an Otis Redding song in the exact same way, it might have a novelty to it because I don't look like a guy who's going to sing authentic soul music to you. So that might be it. But like if I looked like Otis Redding and then I covered Otis Redding in the same style, Otis Redding's fans would just rather listen to Otis Redding, unless I look remarkably like him, and then I'm like, Otis Redding's alive again. But you get my point, right? Like, they'd rather listen to the original rather than a slightly off-brand version of it. So typically we're looking to flip covers, trying to change them to a genre that they aren't. Like, you know, take Celine Dion and make it heavy metal, right? That kind of violent shift. Otherwise, covers aren't so interesting. They're just out there. So this video probably won't work well for FanFinder, and you'll see why when I update those lessons, Mario. Sounds probably shitty because I believe it's recorded with a cell phone. Recording on an iMac, got you. That's why. Any computer's not going to have what you need. You need separate audio and video. And that's probably... These are considerations that you really want to make before you're marketing, right? Like, you want to have content on lock before you start marketing. So you would benefit from the FanFinder module that's being replaced today. That's module 4. Creating your video ad. But after that, I would worry about, well, you're running this FanFinder, you're generating all this attention, generating these listeners. What content do you have to follow it up? What are you going to do afterwards? Because if you don't have a good media creation workflow, if you can't create songs quickly, if you can't create video quickly that looks good, then you really don't have anything to market. So before you run out and do a FanFinder, I mean, FanFinders are validating, right? So if you want the existential validation that you have a talent, then it can be good for that. But after it, you're going to need something to follow it up with, and therefore you're going to need AV equipment or someone who knows how to run AV equipment at arm's length. Someone you trust who's willing to work on your stuff. So I would worry about that before actually going hard on FanFinder. You can do your testing, get your data back, get your ideal audiences back, even generate your first custom audience, generate your first lookalike. But after that, there needs to be the capability to produce audio and video. That needs to be in place. Now, budget audio recorders, any Zoom field recorder can record you, but the best setup is this RE320 microphone is my favorite. It works for miking an amp, works for miking your voice, works for miking drums. I really enjoy it. Cup is over there mixing the podcast. He's our Indie Pro Mix concierge, and he would probably have a lot of great recommendations. Maybe I'll do a YouTube video with him soon for you, Mario, that kind of goes over, I don't have a lot of money. Hey, maybe we'll take a $200 budget. We'll buy an audio setup, the best that we can buy with that $200, and then give it away in the YouTube video. Thank you for the idea, Mario. But yeah, those are my recommendations. Yeah, you need a better video, right? You need more than an iMac. But it doesn't mean you can't get it, and I think that module is really going to help out today. Cup, we're doing a video. You and me, I'm going to take $200, and I'm going to tell you, get me recording audio with this $200, and you're going to make a setup. So just so you know. Okay. Jess Adams says, sorry for posting above my first live session. LOL party foul. It's not a party foul. You're good. I have an Instagram poetry account where I post small original quotes almost daily and had struggled with how to tie this crowd to my music in a thoughtful way. The page has a very particular aesthetic, using a real typewriter and taking photos of the quotes. That is tight, dude. That's awesome. So while putting out my current album, I made a lyric type video of the opening track, less than 2 minutes of a close-up of the typewriter, typing the lyrics in real rhythm to the song with vibey lighting. A poor man's lyric. I wouldn't say that's a poor man's lyric video. That's more engaging than any lyric video I've seen. Lyric videos I'm not a fan of. But that sounds cool. Let's check it out. Yeah, man. I think this is really cool content. I don't know how long it took to do this. I imagine to get it just right was difficult, and it took a little while. You should just do this just perpetually because people will love it. It's something people are going to love. It's not necessarily going to be the best foot forward for you promoting your music, because it's hard to connect this content to like, oh, I'm an artist and I have music and you should go listen to it, right? Like, I think people are going to be, well, actually, yeah, I mean, otherwise it'd just be a typewriter, right? Like, why is there music to it and it's the exact same lyrics? Obviously, this person makes music, but like, not everyone's got that kind of time to put that together online. You know what I mean? Your interruption marketing. So this is great. And if it's low impact for you to do this, this should be your recurring content. It's like a new poem typed out, maybe with different lighting, different background. I love when the paper slid and I saw the flower background in the back. Like, there's so much cool stuff you could do with it. That's dope, dude. I forget even what the question was because that was so tight. I had an underwhelming response to my fan finder video. My first run around, even though it won when ran against my other options, pre-dynamic creative and pre-Instagram and business manager. And after dynamic creative, I figure why not test all my vids against each other again and include IG. This time the lyrics video was the clear winner, especially on IG. Yeah, that makes sense. And the best part was since the song was under 2 mins, the ad is the entire song on IG. I am conflicted though as to how this will work in getting people into my album launch experience, as I am not shown in the video and it is not a live performance. Like when I run my permission offer, will they be like, who the fuck is this guy? Probably, dude. Probably. It's better that your typewriter run the permission offer because you're building brand equity on your typewriter as a persona more than you are your own face. So that doesn't mean it can't be done. Like, I have ideas. I would whiteboard this for hours. This is the kind of idea I would get lost in. Yeah, you could. There's no reason you can't make the typewriter the hero in this story, right? And people are buying products from the typewriter. Dude, there's so much cool stuff you can do with that. Support the typewriter. Keep the typewriter. Needs oil, needs new parts. Keep it running. Oh man, a Patreon for the typewriter, dude. Be dope. But you're right. There are going to be like, who the fuck is this guy? Furthermore, even if you're holding the typewriter, they're not going to put it together. They remember that scene that I just saw. That lighting, that look. They remember that. And if you put that back in front of them, they'll be like, oh yeah, I love these little videos. But anything that ventures off from that, it's going to be hard to trigger that memory. Make the most of participating in IG culture, which loves quotes and word graphics, that my next big content goal should be a lyric video that incorporates footage of myself with a thoughtful, stylized lyric presentation, not simply adding captions to a video. Never hurts to test anything, but do you think I'm overthinking it? I don't think you're overthinking it. I think you're right on the money here, and it's good that you are thinking about it. I don't think you're overthinking it at all. Because these are the exact same things I was thinking about, as you can tell, as I went along. So we're in sync here, man. You're right. It's going to be difficult. Further, if you were going to venture off from the typewriter, I wouldn't do a lyrics video. Nobody cares about a lyrics video. I mean, maybe I'm crazy, but it seems like nobody cares. Maybe that's crass, but I've never met anyone who's like, dude, I love lyric videos, dude. Please release a new lyric video. Nobody. People barely care about music videos. They did in the 90s and 80s. These days, they barely care. It's all about live performance videos now. That's what's jamming. I mean, every viral video from a musician is them performing the song live with a single shot on a gimbal these days. And pay attention to that. I'm gonna update this creating your video ad module for FanFinder today, and you're gonna see exactly what I mean. But I would not, if you're gonna venture off from this format, don't do a lyric video. Just do a video to spec for FanFinder. That said, this is a cool motif. It could work long term. It could be its own page. You could transfix your music into this typewriter and have the typewriter be a character and a public figure, a public persona, and that would be cool. Maybe I'm venturing out on a ledge here with a crazy idea, but it's rare for ideas to get me excited anymore, you know, because like every idea that excites me, I chase it. So I'm already doing the thing I'm excited about. It's hard to venture off and get excited. But when I saw that and I thought about all the possibilities, I got a little nerdy for a second. So might be worth it, dude. Mario says, working on merch as well. Check it out. Developing my website as we speak. Do you know of any clothing and print store that has a widget to sell on my website, FB, etc.? Not keen on Shopify because of the monthly costs. Monthly costs only $29, man. It's only $29. Thanks for all the advice. Let's check this out, man.
Sorry about that, guys. My mic wasn't on. But yeah, I love the branding, dude. I mean, I like this. It's cool. It looks a little bit more accompanying than person. You should include yourself in here somewhere, but I like it. Shy asked me a question here, I just noticed, and she should have asked it in Indies Live. But yeah, man, I think you gotta onboard a fan base before you even make merch. So
Doing a little bit of putting the cart before the horse here, sir. And I dare I say it, you know, putting a little bit of the cart before the horse. You don't need necessarily a website or merch or a store until you have validated that you're able to create fans and maintain their attention and create demand for any product you might offer. And that's contingent upon your ability to create media. I saw you say you're recording contact on lock before marketing. Great advice. I can create music easily enough, investing in quality gear from you. Oh yeah, if you've got UAD stuff, dude, then you're good on audio. So it's just video then. I get it. Do you make original music? Do you have your own, or obviously you do. Right? Maybe I shouldn't say obviously, but it seems like you do. But I just saw a cover from you, and I just happened to see that. But if you make original music and you've got audio solutions and you can record with that audio solution, do that on video. It's going to sound way better. You can improve the look by hiring a videographer to just come by for an hour, shoot it. If you feel confident in nonlinear editors, like if you edit in Pro Tools or whatever you make music in, or you have if you do it and not a mixer, or you do it then a mixer, then you should be fine operating like Premiere Pro or something like that to edit your own videos. But if not, hire a videographer for an hour to come shoot you performing. Ideally, and this is all contingent upon you watching the updated Fan Finder module that I'm putting out later today. When you watch that, you'll learn. You could hire a videographer to come by, shoot you in the right setting, give you the video files. You don't even need to edit it. You could just color grade it and throw the audio recorded in the background. 40 songs. Yeah, I figured you'd probably make originals. Focus on those originals and focus on presenting them in a way that cuts through the noise and communicates. I wouldn't waste your time with covers right now, unless you're going to do a cover that's just atypical, like a cover flip. Other than that, I would not be putting out covers. And you know, with everything that I've now learned, you're not too much putting the cart before the horse. You just need video solutions. That's it. So you're good. What was your original question? Now I feel like a dick because I didn't understand. Do you know of any clothing and print store that has a widget to sell on my website, Facebook, etc.? No. Shopify and Printful, or any other website, cart and Printful. Yeah, that's your best solution, man. But I if it's the investment into Shopify that you're worried about, Shopify is widgetized, so you can put a Shopify widget on your website. So when the time comes for you to offer products when you've got the revenue case there. Grab a Shopify account for a month, pop the widget on your website that day. You don't have to design much because you're not going to use Shopify's shop front end. You're just going to use the widget on your site. Then drive your traffic to there and try to subsidize the cost of Shopify before the bill comes. That's my recommendation. Hope that helps. And yeah, seek out a videographer that you can hire to shoot your shots, and check out the updated FanFinder module coming out later today, good sir. I'm going to scroll back up here to get any chat questions now. Let me just make sure. I'm going to reload here to make sure that there weren't any more questions here. A guy said, hey, Circa, I'm trying to get opt-ins for my album launch right now. Got about 30 or so far, but my ad isn't really working anymore. Any ideas? I can try to make another ad. Also thinking about a contest. I have CDs and t-shirts, also a sample pack I've made. Could do with some positivity. Yeah, man. You should definitely try to make another ad. You should try to make several more ads to try it out. With that said, as long as your fan finder's going well, then creating more ads will help. If your fan finder's not going so well, you need a different fan finder. It's a simple reality of it. If I remember correctly, your last fan finder, the last I had heard, we were testing out or trying headlines for it. Yeah, I mean, who are those opt-ins and why did they opt in? And if you can get some insight into that, then you can know, because it's weird that 30 people would opt in and then there'd be no follow-up. So what's the pitch being made? You know, what? Generally, people are not opting in because the offer is not worth the ask. What you're offering to them is not so clear and desirable so as to get them, to compel them to enter their email address and give it to you. So you're having offer communication issues or offer crafting issues, right? If your fan finder is okay and you are generating people who dig it and they've said so, then your issue is with the offer you're making. And testing out variants could help you out. But your bribe is the issue. You can also do the diagnostic that I mentioned earlier in this, which is check your opt-in rate on the page. If it's below 40, then it's offer problems, landing page problems. People are clicking and they're getting there, but what you're saying on the page does not convince them to opt in. So you need to change the offer or change the way you're communicating the offer. Test new stuff there. Now, if people are clicking, then it's problems there. If people aren't clicking as much, so you have a 40% or higher opt-in rate, but your cost per click is just through the roof, then it's an ad problem or an audience problem. So either the ad is not compelling people to click very often, or the audience is just they're not aware of who you are and they're not willing to click because there's some static there. So you can diagnose if it's an ad problem by seeing if you can get a cost per click reduction by testing out new media mix, new ads. Beyond that, Mario, you're the man. Sorry, I just read Mario's comment. You're the man, Mario. Dope that you already have a videographer. Believe in yourself. Believe in your own music. It's gonna do wonders for you. So yeah, test out a new ad mix, guy. So check your conversion rate on your page. Below 40, new ad mix. And if the new ad mix doesn't yield any difference in results in terms of cost per click or click-through rate, then the audience is wrong. And that's how we diagnose up and down the album launch funnel. First, check the opt-in rate. If it's lower than 40, change the ad. If changing the ad doesn't really seem to do anything, like the ad, if you change the ad, it should be better or worse than the control. If the ad's different enough, it should yield a better or a worse result. If the result is the same, that always indicates to me that the audience is wrong, because they're not even stopping in the news feed, which is another problem that can happen. So there's a lot of different metrics available in Ads Manager that can help you diagnose. Like, if your theory is that you've got warm audience who dig what you've got to say and they loved your fan finder, there's ways to validate that theory, right? Like, are they stopping on the ad? Okay, well, if they are, which you can check by your time spent viewing metric, right? If they're stopping and watching, then they recognize you're stopping them in the newsfeed. Great, right? And if you're running a video ad, you can check video views against reach or video views against impressions and see how often you're getting people to stop in the newsfeed. All different metrics available to you in Ads Manager to validate hypotheses about what's going on. So you can test, you come up with a hypothesis like, people aren't enjoying my offer. People don't care about my offer, right? Well, you can test and validate that using different metrics. My people aren't clicking enough on my ad. My ad's terrible. Okay, well, what's your click-through rate? And how does that stack up against industry standard or your prior click-through rates? That kind of thing. So you can use all these metrics as diagnostic tools, and that's how we use them. I recommend you start digging through Ads Manager and your ClickFunnels or wherever your page is hosted to check your opt-in rate, check your click-through rate, check your cost per click, check your time spent viewing the ad. Check all these metrics to determine what makes the most sense as to a theory as to why I'm having trouble here. And then test fixes for that issue. And I know that's very vague, but it's also very specific. That's exactly how I do it. I just don't know. It could be one of probably over a dozen problems that you're facing, and I can't validate the hypotheses for you, but I can tell you how to do it yourself. So I hope that helps, man. Now I'm going to get these last questions in the chat. Jesse Adams. Oh, I already spoke to you, Jess. Jeffrey York's. Oh, camera question for the DJI Osmo Pocket. Yeah, good camera. Do you have any suggestions for localized interest targeting, like a fan finder in your home city type thing? I know there's a few things in the training about this, but I'm not sure I got the juice I needed. Thank you. If you're going to run a local campaign these days, in 2019, no targeting, unless you're in like New York City, right? But if your city and 50 miles around is not more than 10 million people, no targeting, right? Facebook's going to find the right people. Unless you have a warm audience to retarget there that you only want to speak to them. But like if you're going to do interest targeting with a geographic limit, don't even put in interests. It doesn't matter. Maybe limit by age, like certain demographics. But Facebook's machine learning has been chewing on ad metrics and data for 6 years now, 7. So it knows the deal. It knows the deal, and it's gotten so good that in some of our ad campaigns for Indepreneur, we don't have any targeting. We have like 80 lookalikes in there that represent an audience size of several dozens of millions, and it's working. There's no problems at the ad level or at the targeting level. And that's because Facebook's gotten so good, and because we have a very seasoned ad account. Don't do this if you don't have that. If you haven't created many lookalikes, don't do this. But when it's a geographically limited area, there's only so many people. Facebook's going to run its testing, optimize, and it's going to limit down. And if you use interest targeting, you might be ruling out some people who are valid. So don't do localized interest targeting unless you live in like Denver or, a capital city. Thank you for the comment on my haircut, Guy. Appreciate it. It's finally growing back out. I shaved. I had like, if you guys remember, I had like it curled over, and I would do this all the time. And then I shaved it, and I realized, oh my God, I'm losing hair, right? Like my hair's thinning out in my older age. And so I was like, please just grow back. Just grow back as quickly as possible. And now it's back, and it's like more thick. So I'm super happy. I was worried I was going to go bald. And then Kenny would really be afraid of how much testosterone I'm producing. It would make him nervous, and he would shake. And I'm just worried about Kenny, How do you know if your fan finder is effective? I've watched the lesson a few times, but I'm not really sure what metrics to look at. I guess there's no real cookie cutter answer. Your cost per 75% or 50% view is a really great corollary. So generally, let me just do the math here. Okay, so let's say that you're able to generate 3-second views at 1/10 of a cent, right? Now, we're going to times that, or what do? We times it Or we divide it. Yeah. Okay. 0.001. So if 90% of the people leave, then we have to times that by 10. It costs you 1 cent generally to get a 25% video viewer. Now, if 50% of the people leave from 25 to 50%, times it by 2. It should cost you around 2 cents to generate a 25 or a 50% video viewer, right? And then another 50% drop off, let's times that by 2, should cost you around 4 cents to get a 75% video viewer. Should cost you about 8 cents to get a 95% video viewer. That makes sense, right? So if those metrics are way off, if you're not generating any 75% video viewers, or you're not, and another thing is like comments and shares and likes. If people aren't commenting and saying that they dig it, and people aren't reaching out, you don't have a winning fan finder. Like, that's not the effect. But if people are reaching out and saying like, yo, this was dope, or where can I find this, or anything like that, that validates us. That's a screen. And if that screen is positive, we might dig deeper into those metrics, like cost per 75% view, cost per 95% view, and see, okay, people say they're digging it, but how much is it costing us to get someone we feel comfortable retargeting? If it's costing us more than 6 cents to get one of those viewers, then we could optimize it. We could do a little bit better than that. So that's generally how we check. Carol once said, when you have a winning fan finder, you'll know. She said that in the group because she had struggled with her first few fan finders, and then she hit a winner, and she was like, you'll know. You'll just know. It's undeniable. You know. And I think that's generally true. It's not very helpful to someone who doesn't have that yet. I understand, but it's true. When you have one, you'll know. You'll have to spend all day responding to personal messages and comments. It's generally how it runs. So, with that said, we're about 40 minutes over the end time for this live stream. I got a million things I got to do. I completely lost myself in this, but it was awesome to talk to all you guys. I hope this was helpful, and I hope to see you at the next Indies Live that I am a part of. Have a great day, y'all.